Welcome to Unews for Tuesday, July 23rd. I'm Andrea Linares. Thank you for being here. We begin on the island of Puerto Rico. Protesters clashed with police on Monday evening, demanding the resignation of Governor Ricardo Rosselló. A crisis triggered by a leak of offensive messages between the governor and his advisors. Carolina Rosario has been following the situation in San Juan, and she joins us now with the very latest. Carolina, what do we know?
Hi, good afternoon. We are in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We just spoke to the person in charge of the police department regarding the incident that happened yesterday. We'll keep you posted. Now back to you.
Thank you, Carolina, for that recap, and please stay safe out there. And yesterday's protests are among the largest in Puerto Rico's history, reflecting years of frustration with mismanagement, corruption, and recession. With us to talk about some of these long simmering issues is Iran Melendez. He's in Washington. Tomorrow, former special counsel Robert Mueller is set to testify before members of Congress about his investigation into Russian influence of the 2016 elections. Some experts claim Republicans and Democrats alike will end up frustrated after his testimony, and that's because Mueller has signaled he has no intention to go beyond the four corners of his final report. And today, the Justice Department issued a letter to Mueller himself. Trump allies tell Democrats and the public that it's time to move on, but Democrats are confident that Mueller's testimony could actually help Americans better understand the findings of special counsel's report. Meanwhile, FBI Director Christopher Wray's appearance before a Senate committee offering something of a preview of the intense questioning special counsel Robert Mueller is likely to face in Congress tomorrow. Wray testified major flooding hits New York City and beyond. More violent weather leaving hundreds of thousands of people in the dark. Heavy rains, strong winds, and lightning knocking out power, affecting more than 500,000 customers along the eastern seaboard and in the Midwest, and in some cases turning deadly. As Paola Byron explains, those scenes of flooding and downed trees could be repeated over the next 24 hours. Desperation has already set in for many eager to cross from Mexico into the United States. Nidia Cavazos has a story of a large group of migrants at the southern border who recently decided to risk their lives after waiting in limbo for several months.
That was not able to evade Mexican authorities say they will continue to look for a way to cross to the United States through the river. They are even trying to convince other asylum seekers still waiting at the bridge to cross on with them, as they say it is their only way right now to get to the U.S. For Unews from McAllen, Texas, Nidia Cavazos.
Thank you, Nidia. And as the situation along the U.S.-Mexico border continues to play out in Washington today, President Trump complained about Guatemala's government, saying country officials broke immigration agreements with the U.S. The agreement in question required Central American migrants traveling into Guatemala to claim asylum there first. Pedro Rojas is standing by in Washington, D.C. The nation is taking a new step in its efforts to deter the flow of migrants from the southern border. Starting today, a new policy will widen the scope of people eligible for expedited deportation. Lorraine Cáceres explains.
Migrants here in the U.S. will from now on need to carry with them proof at all times that they've been in the country for at least 2 years. If not, they'll end up in jail, exposed to deportation. Experts warn that this new policy will basically do more to install fear than actually alter the deportation process, because those detained under the new procedure can claim asylum and thus continue to stay here as their case is heard. Andrea, back to you.
Lorraine, thanks so much for that report. And many immigrant communities around the country are still living in fear as ICE continues carrying out raids to detain undocumented immigrants. One of those arrests was captured on video in Los Angeles by one of the detainees' neighbor. Juan Carlos Gonzalez has the story. A Honduran family seeking asylum in Canada may be running out of time after their asylum petition was rejected. Like many other Central Americans, they believed their chances of getting asylum in Canada were better than here in the U.S. under the Trump administration. Jorge Contreras reports. Up next, the urgent search for clues after... Welcome back to Unews. A manhunt is underway for the killer of a University of Mississippi college student. The 21-year-old found dead not far from campus, the apparent victim of foul play. Maite Interiano has all the details. Officials at Morehouse College in Atlanta are looking into multiple sexual misconduct allegations against a staffer there. It all started where tainted alcohol has taken the lives of at least 19 people across the country, as Noella Bloom explains criminal gangs may be to blame. The measles outbreak here in the U.S. is growing. 30 states. She has a preview of what's coming up during the second hour of Unews. Caro, what will you have for us?
Thank you, Andrea. We have a lot more coming up in minutes. We have new details in a murder mystery. A young couple found dead in a remote part of Canada. So back to you, Andrea.
Caro, thanks so much. We'll be waiting for you. But first, right here on Unews, and welcome back to Unews. Dozens of old tires are littering the bottom of the Gulf, and all because of a mistake made decades ago by people trying to keep the water healthy. Ricardo Arambari explains what divers are doing now to help fix this problem. The 2019 Kennedy Center honorees have been revealed. R&B group Earth, Wind & Fire at home it is. And that's all the time that we have for this first hour of Unews, but stay tuned. We have much more information coming up next in our second hour with Carolina Sarasa. Thanks so much for watching.